Here I am in order to try this again. I am sorry for earlier, but since I literally fell asleep just a few minutes later, I have the feeling that, yeah, I may have had good reason to cut this short. Let's hope that this one here won't end in the same ridiculous way. Okay, sis. Come on, there it is. Let's say I won't get any further in that case unless I continue. Would have been nice if I had already established myself a bit of a network of friends in terms of streaming. In theory, I could have just relayed you to them in that case, but well, it is what it is, as they say. So, let's continue on, hopefully with not too much yawning. So, back to business. I won't rest until I have inspected it all. Shot in the chest. I guess it takes some guts to fire a gun in a courthouse. I mean, I've been a detective for a whole week, and I still haven't fired a single round yet. There aren't any burn marks on his clothes. That must mean... Wait, burn marks? Around grows very hot acid discharges from a firearm. And for burn marks, usually left when a gun is fired from point-blank range. Well, in addition to that, there's also, of course, the muzzle flash. Ergo, Mr. Rell must have been shot from at least a yard or two away. Well, that's an interesting piece of data. You sure do know a bunch of stuff for your age, pal. Apparently, this detective has as much common knowledge as your everyday marsupial. Let's now try to understand how the two men died. First, Mr. Faraday took a gun and a knife out of today's trial evidence. Then he aimed the gun at Mr. Rell and fired. However, Mr. Rell managed to grab the knife and counter Mr. Faraday while being shot. Then the two men fell together where they stood. That's my theory in any case. What a crazy way to go. Still, something about that explanation just doesn't seem right. Crime scene is been jotted down. I believe I now have a firmer grasp on what happened here. Really. Nothing new in regards to the knife. I can still investigate it. It looks like Mr. Faraday was stabbed with his knife that Mr. Rell is holding. Ouch! What's wrong, detective? My stomach started to hurt from just thinking about being stabbed. Just keep your mind on the case, alright? The window's open and there's a fresh, flowery scent in the air. Yeah. The flowers in the garden though, they're so gross and ghastly. I think maybe you could try offering something useful for a change. Well, at least there's no way someone escaped through this window, pal. They wouldn't they wouldn't wake up and smell the flowers after a fall from the 4th floor. Are you willfully ignoring the fact that there are also iron bars on the window? I guess there's that too. Either way, no one could get through these windows, right? I thought of every thing when they were designing this courthouse. Very nice. Wow. What is it, Detective Gumshoe? My TV at home is so tiny compared to this one, pal. But perhaps you should purchase a more normal-sized television like this one. Oh, let me see here. Wow, this thing is huge. Yeah. And way too noisy. You're the noisy one, Scruffy. Don't touch that. Don't touch it. You'll get your fingerprints all over it. But I didn't touch it. Preservation of the crime scene is the foundation of detective work. Foundation, huh? Sounds like something the rookie here needs to show up on. The TV has been left on. Why are you looking at me like that? It wasn't me. I didn't touch anything. Gumshoe, you do know what will happen to you if you touch something again? Right. I won't touch anything. I won't even go near any TV. Anywhere near the TV, sir. And you, get back to your investigation, alright? I was planning to do so anyway. Da 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 da. There's some stuff in the back. There's some stuff in the back, pal. I suppose this was Mr. Faraday's bag. Probably trial evidence I was supposed to collect from him. This is the evidence. Oh, I'd better not touch it. I'll leave prints on it. You just not pay attention to anything. You do? Ah, I see. Did you figure something out? This is a competition, Miles. And as such, I'd appreciate it if you didn't talk to me. As you wish. Detective Bat, do you have any thoughts on the case? Faraday and Rel. It looks like they were. It looks like they killed each other to me. Although a few things that just don't seem right. And what would that be? Why don't you try thinking on your own first before you bother me, boy? Why now I've been downgraded to just boy. Well, I guess it is either time for logic or time for contradiction. Most likely, logic. The tea set, completely undisturbed. Windows barred. Unlikely that anyone may come through this, though there is a fluorescent fountain pen in Faraday's pocket, in especially a nice one. Ink stains. Mr. Faraday has ink stains in his hand. Why is there ink in such a place, anyway? And thrown about plastic bags. Usually used to store evidence, all strewn about the floor. Well, first off, if he has a fountain pen, then that relates most likely to the ink stain. Let's see if I'm at the right point to logic that together. It appears I am. That's bloodshot. That's bloodshot on Mr. Faraday's hand. I wonder if it may be ink from his fountain pen. Oh, let's ask the lab guy. Detective Gumshoe? I can confirm the substance on Mr. Faraday's hand is ink from his fountain pen. I see. Good work. Ah, you know, I've always wanted to say that. Even if it was just one time in my life. Mr. Faraday wrote with his fountain pen in his left hand. I think it's fair to assume he was left-handed. It appears that Mr. Faraday's pen is very important to our case as well. Okay, if you say so, pal. Yeah. One would assume that if push comes to shove, even someone even a lefty would potentially grip a gun in his right hand, and if he didn't have any time to react. However, that throws the theory that Mr. Faraday opened this conflict out the window, considering if he were the one to start a fight. Why would he take a gun in his non-dominant hand if he had time to prepare? Hmm. Well, now to the interesting thing. The tea set is undisturbed, so that means that the plastic bags that should have been inside of inside the duffel bag on this table, well, they weren't strewn about as a result of someone quickly rummaging through this bag, since that could very well have caused the tea set to fall, or at least to, well, show some signs of yeah, disturbance. The open window, however, could be related to why the bags are there like this. However, we already found out that it is very much likely that Mr. Faraday is left-handed, and therefore it doesn't exactly make much sense for him to have this gun in his right hand as he was found in. So, the plastic bags strewn about and in the table are more probable to be connected. Well, I was right. There's a very tidy pile of plastic bags on the table, and yet a portion of them wound up scattered on the floor as well. It's not likely that the ones on the floor were knocked over during the struggle. In which case, may there be another explanation as to how they got there? Another reason. I believe it's possible that the blood on the outside of his bag is related somehow. Please get that blood away from me, pal. I have gumshoe. Whose blood is on this bag? Hold on. Let me ask a lab guy. Alright, please hurry. Wait till you get a load of this, pal. It's Mr. Faraday's. Oh, and the technician said they didn't find anything else on or in the bag either. Would appear that this bag is a very important piece of evidence. Okay, if you say so, I'll leave it in your hands, pal. Huh. I wonder. I don't have any data on if that bag has been sliced through. After all, it would be possible to hold a knife with a bag around it in order to prevent any prints on the knife, but that wouldn't explain why it looks like that. Hmm. Ay, ay, ay. Let me check something. Yeah, everything's alright. I guess there's much more to investigate, huh? They really did kill each other. There's not much more to investigate, huh? They really did kill each other. No, we can't conclude that quite yet. There's still something I find very peculiar here. The theory that they simply killed one another is too simplistic for this case. In fact, there's a clear contradiction that shows there's another possibility. No way, pal. Really? I suppose I will just have to show you the contradiction in this crime scene. So, I'm back here, and I already said it. Faraday appears to be a left-handed, or at least that's what we concluded from the ink blotch in conjunction with his pen. Still, he holds a gun in his right hand. So, unless he's one of the very few cases of people who have true ambidexterity, that is weird. However, if whoever placed a gun like this didn't know about him being left-handed, it makes a lot more sense. This spot somehow connected to the evidence I hold? Well, we did get data that Faraday's left-handed, so I guess it's this. Now we come face to face with a contradiction I spoke of, and it is this. Mr. Faraday uses the left hand to write with his fountain pen. Ergo, he's left-handed. And yet, the handgun is in his right hand. Don't you find it odd that the left-handed Mr. Faraday would hold a gun in his right hand? That, lady and gentlemen, is a great contradiction haunting this crime scene. Aye, you're right, pal. That does seem kinda strange. But how could something like that happen? The facts add up to one conclusion, and one only. Someone else put a gun in Mr. Faraday's hand after he died. Someone else? Plastic bags scattered on the floor, and a gun in the wrong hand. I sense the presence of a shadowy figure behind this case. A person of violent intent who is serious about keeping the truth from us. September 10th, District Court, Defendant Lobby number 2. Here's the autopsy report. It is probable that Mr. L survived for a short time after being shot. However, Mr. Faraday instantaneously died from his stabbing. Interesting. Notes pertaining to it. Well, that would once again open up the chance of them having killed each other. It looks like we now know everything we need to know about this case. I sure know everything. Of course, the incident began with Mr. Faraday attempting to get his revenge. The prosecutor went into a rage from being accused and tried to kill the defendant. But the defendant fought back, and they ended up killing each other. It's all very clear and simple. There's absolutely no margin for doubt. They really believe that to be true. Are you saying that just because I figured out the truth before you, that you don't want to believe it's truth? It's alright, if you disagree with my argument, then prove me wrong. Well, if there are any contradictions to be found, that is. Don't worry, I will. What happened? Mr. Faraday's death was instantaneous, while Mr. Rell survived for a short time. From this, it's obvious that Mr. Faraday died after he shot Mr. Rell. And Mr. Rell, while on the brink of death, stole Mr. Faraday's knife and stabbed him. Those are the facts of the case. Mr. Faraday's death was instantaneous. Therefore, he must have attacked first. Proving that logic to be false is probably the fastest way to show her that she's wrong. In that case, I should first look for any holes in her theory. Rebuttal. Mr. Faraday's death was instantaneous while Mr. Rell survived for a short time. Let's press it. Do you truly believe that Mr. Faraday died instantaneously? You have the murder report right here. Mr. Faraday died instantaneously of shock due to being stabbed in the chest. But there you see, it's been documented clear as day. From this, it's obvious that Mr. Faraday died after he shot Mr. Rell. Mr. Faraday shot Rell before he died. Do you have any basis for the statement? Your foolishness has no end, does it? No, I hate to repeat myself. However, Mr. Faraday died instantaneously. That's all the basis I need. Alright. So, if Mr. Faraday died instantaneously, then he must have attacked Mr. Rell before being stabbed. You're finally beginning to catch on, I see. And Mr. Rell, while on the brink of death, stole Mr. Faraday's knife and stabbed him. So, you believe that the dying Mr. Rell stole the knife from Mr. Faraday. Mr. Rell became desperate as he did not want to die. Human beings can do amazing things when they are put to the test. So, the two men struggled. And in the end, Mr. Rell was able to grab the knife and stab Mr. Faraday. A messy contradiction of his room is a testament to their struggle. Yes, my logic is perfectly sound. Can you really say that it's perfect? What are you insinuating? Nothing. However, I can't let what you said slide by without further inquiry. One must be clear and precise. So, if you could append that statement to your testimony. Fine. They struggled, and Mr. Rell used the last of his strength to counter-attack Mr. Faraday. About the statement. Mr. Rell used all of his remaining strength to take the knife and defend himself. One can easily see that they had a violent struggle. Of course, it's nothing compared to what my riding crop can do. How does one compare the damage her crop can do with the state of his room? Furthermore, all the plastic bags on the floor in this room were scattered due to the fight. Is there anything else I can explain for you? No, that will be fine. Those are the facts of the case. Claiming speculation as fact already. Don't you feel that the evidence is a bit lacking? You'll find all the evidence you need just by looking around this room. Mr. Faraday collapsed on top of Mr. Rell. In addition, Mr. Faraday died instantaneously, making counterattack impossible. Furthermore, the room is a total mess from their fight. I dare say that there's more evidence here than you could whip a whip at. Looks like she's becoming more and more confident. And looking at this place, she may have a right to be. After all, everything here seems to support her theory. It looks like you're starting to see my point. I've always... I've asked it as one our little competition. There's something strange about Francesca's theory. I should compare her claim to the I should compare her claim with the data I've gathered thus far. I know there's a contradiction somewhere. So, once again, I have pressed on everything, so I suspect there's nothing more to gain in addition to this testimony unless I present something. That's rather obvious that Mr. Rell fought, struggled and the last of his strength counterattacked Mr. Faraday. Well, not only is this the thing that was added and amended, but in addition to it, We do have some data regarding that, well, the struggle may not be as clean of a big-ass struggle as we may or may not see. For one, we have Gumshoe's testimony, outright saying that there was not the sound of a struggle, which would well, directly go against it. And in theory, at least, though it does not seem we have the logic side of it, that there can't have been too much of a struggle regarding open combat, considering that a lot, in this room seems to be undisturbed. Okay, so I guess Gumshoe's testimony is the most direct thing I can have in order to disprove this. If the two men were fighting, the struggle would surely have caused a bit of noise. However, Detective Gumshoe testified that he heard absolutely nothing. You place too much faith in that detective's testimony, you know. But for the sake of argument, let's say there wasn't a fight. How then did Mr. L get his hands on the knife? Mr. Faraday's bag was sitting right here in lobby number 2. It is not hard to imagine that perhaps Mr. L saw a chance and took it out at some point. So, what you're saying is this. Mr. L took a chance when he saw an opportunity and took a knife from the bag. And then Mr. Faraday shot Mr. L after being stabbed. There's something strange in Francesca's statement just now. Well, Francesca went against her own logic, considering that a report stated that Mr. Faraday would supposedly have died from shock pretty much immediately, so unless he already had the gun in his hand, then there would not have been time for a shot to be fired, and even if that were the case, well, he would have shot him point blank, so scorch marks would have to have been found on the body. Well, yes. Wait, something doesn't add up. Oh, really? It's simply not possible for Mr. Faraday to have shot Mr. Rell after being stabbed. Oh, not that incident? Notes here. Let's see. Discovered immediately after a gunshot had been heard. Faraday died of a knife stab to the chest. The shock of the stabbing caused instantaneous death. Rell died of a bullet wound to the chest. There is no gunpowder burn on his clothes, suggesting he was shot from a few yards away. It's possible he was alive for a little while after being shot. Well, yeah. If that's true, then, like I said, it's not exactly possible for Mr. Faraday to have had time for a counterattack. If he really died pretty much instantaneously, he would literally not have had the time to counterattack, and even if he had a few 1 or 2 seconds of time in order to counterattack, he would not have had the time to grab that gun prior to dying, or at least to losing consciousness from that shock. The only possibility that could have happened would if he had already had a gun in his hand. However, if that were the case, then, well, the shot distance that he would have, he would have fired a gun out of reflex at the pain he felt, but the distance at that point when a gun would have been fired would have left scorch marks, so I guess this has to be our data for this. According to the coroner's report, Mr. Faraday died instantaneously, meaning that he died immediately upon being stabbed by the knife. Ergo, he could not possibly have fired a gun after that. Oh, you got me. But of course... Well then, if the report is correct, then there's only one correct explanation. If we suppose that Mr. Rell attacked first, then Mr. Faraday, who died instantaneously, would have been unable to kill Mr. Rell. Therefore, Mr. Rell must have stabbed Mr. Faraday after he was shot. Then, they both died. That is the only explanation that makes logical sense. Negating your opponent's ideas in order to prove your own theory. I see you've been studying, Francesca. I just wanted to explain it to you as simply as possible. Before you foolishly propose a foolish theory that only a foolish fool like you could. Huh. How naive of you to believe that only your opinions are valid. And still expect to discover the truth that the crime scene offers you. Francesca, you've still got ways to go. What are you talking about? Are you saying there's a flaw in my logic? Mr. Faraday died instantly, and the fact that he did is what gives rise to this contradiction in the scene. The contradiction in the scene here is... well, the biggest one is, of course, the order of events. Or... well, it could also be the evidence bag's location, after all. Well, yeah, the clearest, the order of events is what she's basing her theory on, since it's the only thing that would make sense. You know, the evidence bag's location on the other side of the room is also a rather poignant thing that is a bit on the odd side. After all, if there was a struggle regarding the evidence, and we can assume that the prosecutor would not have left any weaponry within arm's reach of the person accused, that in turn makes it unlikely that there can have been a struggle in a close location to that bag. So both pieces of evidence would have been taken from this bag prior to any confrontation having been occurred, or only one piece of evidence would have been taken from this bag. In addition, the table is undisturbed, so, well, not only is it on the other side of the room where those bodies were found, but if there was a struggle directly with this table, all of the neatly packed things on the table should have shown signs of disturbance. So the back, so I guess the back location is the big contradiction here. The evidence bag is too far away from the bodies. If the bag that held the weapons was this far from the victim, then neither of the two men could have taken one out without the other noticing. Heh, weren't you the one who just said perhaps Mr. Rell saw a chance and took it out at some point? Now, take some responsibility for your own claims. Well, maybe I should have given a more detailed explanation. I need to think this over one more time. Let's see. Mr. Faraday died instantaneously, and the fact that he did is what gives rise to this contradiction in the scene. Well, in that case, it can pretty much only be how the bodies fell, considering that, as we can see, the original position was that Mr. Faraday had collapsed on top of Mr. L. Well, on that, if that were the case, however, with him losing consciousness immediately, why would he have fallen neatly on top of the man who stabbed him to die instantaneously? I still consider the distance of the evidence back in relation to not one but two pieces of evidence having been taken from the back to be extremely suspicious, since, well, yeah. How would the table have been left undisturbed if, as part of a struggle, two items were rapidly displaced from the evidence back? Let me get this straight. What you're arguing is this. Mr. Faraday took the gun from his evidence bag and shot Mr. L. Then, after the wounded Mr. L found the opportunity to take the knife and strike back. Upon being stabbed, Mr. Faraday died on the spot and Mr. L died thereafter. If that's the case, then how do you explain this? Take a good look at the order in which the bodies are piled. No. Mr. Faraday's body is lying on top of Mr. Rel's, therefore, Mr. Rel must have died before Mr. Faraday. Impossible! Yes, I agree that it seems strange no matter what angle you approach it from. Which means that the real mystery behind this... No, not so fast, Miles Edgeworth. What now? I simply think that you ought to think a bit more outside the box. And that it's even clearer now that the incident started with Mr. Faraday's murderous intent. She sure bounced back quickly. An explanation won't be enough this time. It's going to take some very decisive evidence to prove her wrong. Well, a revised idea. It was just chance that Mr. Faraday's body fell on top of Mr. Ral's. The two bodies fell into a pile, which indicates that they attacked each other at the same time. It really doesn't matter in the slightest that they fell the opposite order. Just know that Francesca's explanation isn't absolutely correct. All I have to do is find a hole in her logic. Once I do, I can then present her with the evidence that proves her contradiction. What happened Part 2. There's just chance that Mr. Faraday's body fell on top of Mr. Rel's.
Hold it!
About that. Pressing someone's testimony in order to gain some time to think. You're a one-trick pony, aren't you? It's too bad your trick only worked through fools. That wasn't my intent. I simply wish for more details as to how Mr. Faraday ended up on top of Mr. Rel. Someone's impatient. I was just about to explain everything. So do you think you could hold on for a minute? Jack! Francesca, I make you a deal. I'll hold on if you hold on to that whip of yours. Oh, I'll hold on to it, alright, as I whip you. Yuck. Well, now that you've quieted down a bit, I'd like to continue if you don't mind. The two bodies fell into a pile. Honestly, no, I want to press her just on account of seeing how she reacts. The two fell on top of each other. Don't you think? Don't you find that to be just a bit strange? Not at all. Ah, I can see it in her eyes. She's dead set against me from the bottom of her heart. Miles Edgeworth, once I'm done here, you'll see that there's nothing strange at all. Now then, the two men fell into a pile, which indicates that they attacked each other at the same time. What do you mean by they attacked each other at the same time? I assume Mr. Faraday had the two different weapons in his hands. He made to attack Mr. L while holding both the knife and revolver, and then, after Mr. Faraday fired a gun, Mr. L grabbed the knife as he was falling and stabbed Mr. Faraday. That is how Mr. Terrell wound up on the bottom and Mr. Faraday on top. At close range, that is more than possible. Yes, it is possible, but... well, if you have any other ideas, then show me what you've got! Well, I will. And to that extent, I'd like for you to append what you just said to your testimony. I don't see any point to that, but as you please. The fact indicates that they attacked each other at the same time from close range. You're saying that they attacked each other at the same time from a close range. Exactly. Mr. Faraday pointed a gun at Mr. Rell's chest and pulled the trigger. Mr. Rell then took the knife from Mr. Faraday and stabbed him before he fell unconscious. At that, Mr. Faraday instantly fell on top of Mr. Rell from the stabbing, pinning Mr. Rell under him, where he died shortly thereafter. And that's how they ended up on top of each other, with no contradiction to be seen. It really doesn't matter in the slightest that they fell in the opposite order. It does very much. Do you really believe they fell in the exact opposite order in which they attacked? Miles Edgeworth, you're not listening to a word that I'm saying. Yay! They both attacked each other at the same time, and Mr. Rell fell first by chance, leaving Mr. Faraday to just happen to fall on top of him. Then Mr. Rell died shortly thereafter, pinned underneath Mr. Faraday. That's how it happened. So, the two men attacked each other, with Mr. Rell randomly falling down first. The fact that they attacked each other in varies from the order they fell in doesn't cause problems for me. However, there's definitely one certain aspect that I'm having trouble swallowing. Let me guess, it's the short range. At the very same time, from close range. Let's see. Now, let's see. Is the relevant point that, well, the bullet wound and the report suggesting that it can't have been from close range? Or is it the fact that on the handgun itself it says that literally? Hopefully this is not a case of fun facts in two different places, but only one being of true relevance. Well, at least at this point, hopefully, I have enough stability in my case in order to make a mistake should the unusual annoyance happen. Well, in this case, it's directly in the surface report written here that it would have at least been a few yards away where the bullet was fired. So, let's try this. So, you believe they killed each other at close range? Sorry, but that's impossible. just as it's written in the crime scene report. The firing of the handgun did not leave any gunpowder burn on Mr. Rell's clothes. Therefore, Mr. Rell and the gun must have been separated by a distance of at least 2 or 3 yards. Yeah. Yes, this is by far the biggest contradiction. The two bodies are piled up on each other, yet the gun was fired from a distance. And with there being no chance that Mr. Rell moved that far after being shot, at least only one possible explanation. What a completely foolish line of a foolish thought from a thoroughly foolish fool. If I'm not right, then who was it that made the first move with the intent to kill, huh? Who? The person that attacked first with murderous intent, that would be... well, probably Mr. Rell. And after Mr. Faraday having been stabbed, someone intended to dispose of Mr. Terrell. Mr. Rell, of course. You know. You foolish the idea is making me feel just as foolish as you. Well, unless of course it's neither of them and there was a third person involved, but there's always the thing that the question arises of how, where and when. The fact that Mr. Faraday had items that could be used to kill in his possession is something Mr. Rell wouldn't have known. Honestly, I know why the game did this, but the fact that Mr. Rell, the facts presented do not directly disprove that potentially Mr. Rell attacked first. After all, if there was a third party involved and Mr. Rell attacked first with a knife and Mr. Faraday died instantly, then it would come close to the possibility that a third party simply intended to dispose of Mr. Rell. So I'm rather annoyed, or maybe perturbed, by the fact that this is not considered a plausible explanation. But in that case, it would need to have been neither of them. Well, wouldn't have known what's inside Mr. Faraday's bag. On the other hand, I made an assumption that whoever, well, caused the entire scene of the case in the first place may be involved here, so in that case, I see why this would be seen false. It's also not a stretch to assume that, well, if someone intended to dispose of both and had already had Mr. Rell under his thumb, so to speak, that ordering him to utilize something in order to kill Mr. Faraday is more than plausible. I have to rethink this carefully. The person who attacked with murderous intent was neither. Here, in this room, contradictions appear no matter which man we claim attacked first. Thus, there can be only one explanation. There was a third person here. And that is an annoyance to me, because a third person involved does not necessarily imply that Mr. Rell didn't attack first. So, I call a little bit of bullshit on our question here, since a third person being involved does not imply that, that it would be impossible for the other thing to have happened. After all, nothing we see is certain Unless, of course, the crime scene was undisturbed. However, with the third person here, it is absolutely disturbed. Hmm? It was that third person who killed both Mr. Faraday and Mr. Rull, and set their bodies up to make it look like a double murder. That third person is the real culprit. Miles Edgeworth, there's just one thing you're missing. Evidence, correct? Exactly. Everything you've set up until now is nothing but a story played out in your head. However, this is where the real test begins. Can you prove that there was a third person involved in this crime? Of course. Just a moment, I need to check something. Yeah, that which I needed to check is a little on the irrelevant side right now. I need to check on it later. Of course. If a third person was truly here, that fact would resolve a glaring contradiction. To prove the proof that this has been set up, made to look like they killed each other. I'll present it. I'll lay bare the final piece of the puzzle that's not yet in place. What is a piece of evidence that proves a third person would have been involved? Well, what could it be? Honestly, the only true, absolute thing, that can't, that I absolutely know is that this would be a bit of a very far stretch with the gun in his right hand. Though, just a second, I need to write a message, considering this is a time-sensitive matter here. Okay. Sorry for that, but like I said, sadly a time-sensitive matter, so I had to attend to it immediately. No contradiction that indicates that there's most likely tampering going on would be the fountain pen. And, well, in relation to that, of course, the chance, or like the event that Mr. Faraday would not hold a gun in his right hand.
Take that!
Very to me. There's no need for an explanation. Well, I have no idea it's related, so could you please explain to me? Very well, let me guess, you can't explain it, can you? Great, so... The contradiction in relation is apparently not a contradiction seen by the game. Yeah. Would it be that I was wrong? There's definitely a contradiction here, and it should resolve itself if there truly was a third person here. I just need to go over the evidence and my thoughts once again. What is a piece of evidence that proves there's a third person involved? Hmm. Why must time-sensitive stuff arise here now? Well, let's see if we can find anything more. I do have a bit of a feeling that either Manny Koshan or maybe then our Miss Yu may be involved in the entire affair. However, in order to have this be relevant, I can inspect this back. I missed that. Blood here is from Mr. Faraday, but there are no other clues to be found, which begs the question. Need to put this back inside another bag in order to preserve it as evidence. That is an interesting question, and in theory the answer would be yes. I believe he found this as evidence. That is... Well, one of the things is of course the fact that they were found more or less immediately, supposedly at least, after a gunshot was heard, so... By that merit... there are a few weird situations, I'd say. The pen and how the crime scene was found are both of greater relevance here, regarding him being a left-handed person and, or most likely left-handed, which, well, puts it all into a tampering status. I would have assumed that the pen may be the relevant point. Then that now begs the question if it has to be this plastic bag having Faraday's blood on it, which doesn't really Well, it doesn't exactly put confidence into me, considering all I have in terms of data right now is the fact that there's blood on it. Hooray. We don't know if or what it had held. This knife is assumed to have been brought into the room by Mr. Faraday, and then then stolen by by Mr. Rell. So the crime scene itself, and the fact that Mr. Faraday is left-handed is, for now, the only thing that's rather clearly something that may be related here. The old K9 report, well, that's halfway irrelevant, at least to the situation at hand. The only relation to it is that, well, the defense attorney does have the same last name as the victim from 8 years ago. And, well, that another person related to that Becco Van is here, so... Also... well... And it's not the crime scene. I almost feel like the game directly wants to annoy me for every wrong idea I have. On account, yeah, by having this take long. This bag has been completely, well, irrelevant, but why would it be of relevance? This bag is within plausible distance regarding the attack, though, well, only thing I can say is I would assume that it would have been stepped through, should it, well, regarding the blood on it, but, well, there isn't. So, how is it that would have been another person involved? Detective Gumshoe's testimony, well, that didn't exactly include anything of greater relevance that would point to a third person being involved. The gun being fired a few yards away doesn't exactly. Well, the crime scene is that which holds the most of it, but yeah. Knife in Rel's hand is most likely not anything of anything, unless of course I could inspect it further, but I can't. Oh, the plastic bag, one of those strewn about, but why does this directly imply a third person was there? Well, it is empty. There isn't really a reason for this bag to be empty, especially considering it is related to the pieces of stuff that would have been presented as evidence, so very honestly, At that point, on account of all of this weird stuff, I'm just throwing things at the wall, hoping something sticks.
Take that!
Great! It is the right piece of information. And apparently it is, once again, for a reason that is either too obvious or not obvious enough on account of how it is. Which, I guess one can assume may be related to fun stuff in the end, like, for example, the way the game has been translated. Or at least I'd assume that. Well, I have time to get back to narration, it seems. The gun in Mr. Faraday's hand and the plastic bag with his blood on it. These two items point to the presence of a third person. Wait. I could have used the gun. The same thing I already used in order to prove that a distance had to have been between... Sometimes I really don't follow in these games. Though from everything I've heard, I'm far from the only one with that problem. How so? Recall Detective Gumshoe's testimony. It was in the hallways the whole time, but I didn't hear a single peep of struggle. If there wasn't a struggle in this room, then there shouldn't be any plastic bags on the ground. Meaning that someone else must have deliberately scattered them around. Don't tell me I could have used his testimony as well. Do you not see the possibility in this? Disregarding the gun for a moment, there's a high probability of blood splatter when a knife is used on a person. If the culprit held a knife with a plastic bag around it, they could use the bag to catch the blood splatter from when they withdrew the knife. Then, by spreading a few more plastic bags around, mixing the bloody one with them, and arranging the room to make it look like there was a struggle between the two, they would be able to conceal their presence. So I pointed at, with the right intention, on literally everything that's not supposedly related to it. Yay me! Looks like I've still got a long way to go in this investigation. Yes.
Objection!
And it's her again. What the heck is up with you, pal? Mr. Bat, I advise you to place Detective Gumshoe under arrest. What? What's the meaning of this? Huh. Looks like you are not man enough to discipline your own subordinates. Don't you dare. That detective claims he was there, standing in front of the door the entire time. But I have it on good authority that it was all a giant lie. Miss Yu, I'd ask you to please explain that last statement. I'll let His Honor explain it himself. I saw it with my own eyes, I tell you. During the recess, there was a period of time when there was no one in the hallway. What? See, Mr. Bat? To ask you, why would a detective, who was supposedly doing his job the whole time, want to fabricate such a lie? Gumshoe, did you kill Faraday? No! Of course not, sir. It would appear that the one who set this whole crime scene up is that detective. Which basically renders his testimony completely lie and wholly invalid. Looks like your perfect logic has just come tumbling down, Miles. I was in the hallway the whole time, but I didn't hear a single peep of a struggle. Was that statement really a lie? Detective Gumshoe, you're now suspect in the murder of 2 men. Now spit out the truth, or so help me. I haven't lied to anyone, sir. Honest. I really was there. I was in the hallway the whole time. Detective Bat. Ask that you please do not act without my permission. After all, I'm the one. I am the one that is heading up this investigation, am I not? Don't talk like you know what's going on, boy. All I want is for this investigation to run perfectly. Perfection is the only wish of a pillar of von Karma, after all. Therefore, before you take Detective Gumshoe into custody, I'd like to set the record straight on something. And what's that? What should I ask Detective Gumshoe about? It's either why he wasn't in the hallway or the state of the hallway. There's a question of motive, of course, but unless there is a reason for a motive for the kill, well, that is not exactly something great. So, a state of the hallway may be of relevance. Detective Gumshoe, I take it that no one else was in that hallway at the time, correct? Huh? Oh, of course not, pal. You're being awfully defensive. May you be hiding something from me? Watch your mouth, pal. Can't go around saying stuff like that without about me without any evidence. I suppose you're right. I have no evidence at that point. Miles Edgeworth, how can you be losing a battle of wits with this detective? You're a disgrace. Yuck. You should ask about something else. What should I ask Detective Gumshoe about? Well, why he wasn't there, probably, and I have a bit of a reason to suspect it has to do with Kay. Detective Gumshoe, why were you missing from the hallway for a span of time? Look, pal, like I said, I was there the whole time, okay? But there's testimony against you. Miles Edgeworth, why wasting time with a completely useless question? The only logical reason as to why he was absent was that he was busy committing the crime. Anyone who says otherwise is a fool. You know. Really? Well, no one else has presented any reason for motive for Gumshoe to, commit a murder, so I guess it is a valid question, but really. We have multiple statements here. The presence of him in the hallway is very, very much a highly relevant thing, and it is something as simple as his motive. Games tend to go out of their way that you have to ask any question that's not obvious and punish you for doing such a thing as, well, just going the absolutely obvious route. And yet here is the exact opposite of it. Well, let's go on. At least I don't lose stability for this one. I suppose the one thing I'd like clarified is Detective Gumshoe's motive for committing this crime. Huh. Motive, huh? Gumshoe, you've got a grudge against Faraday or anything? No, sir. Not me. Not a single bad thing against Mr. Faraday, sir. Is that a fact? You really have a problem with lying, don't you, Detective Gumshoe? I'm telling you, I am not lying.
The more unusual will you act, the more suspicious you become, you know. If you want a motive, Edgeworth, I have one for you right here. Could you please share it with us? However, be forewarned that I won't hesitate to object to flights of fancy. Because all I'm interested in is the perfect explanation. You're serious, aren't you? Fine. You amuse me, so I'll humor you with a little courtroom practice. And I'll humor myself with a little bit of water to drink. It is important after all. And with that weird flight of exhaustion and tiredness I've had today, all the better to make sure that I at least have enough water in my system. It was about a week ago. I saw the detective get chewed out by a livid Faraday in front of the precinct. He stood there, super pale, as Faraday yelled, "That's a salary cut for you, you nitwit!" A brand new detective suddenly getting a salary cut, that's reason enough for a grudge. Well, how's that for a perfect explanation? You totally misunderstand me, pal. No matter how mad I get, I could never hold a grudge. Quite. We can't trust anything you say. Sir. There's nothing wrong with the motive she proposed per se. There's some gaps in her logic that need to be filled in. Miss Yu's perfect explanation may not be so perfect after all. Once again, her explanation. It was about a week ago. A week ago? Then you and Detective Gumshoe are acquaintances. No way. I only met him in person today. And how did you know about Detective Gumshoe? Oh, I've seen him around before. Saw a detective got chewed out by a livid Faraday in front of the precinct. Let's get deep into that. Mr. Faraday was upset. Yeah. You know what else? Mr. Faraday isn't exactly known to get angry often. But there he was, totally beat red in the face. And the offending detective just stood there, pale as a ghost, like he was about to die. Just like the face he's making right now, right? I'm completely innocent, I'll tell you. The poor man. It was quite a scene with the detective. He stood there, super pale, as Mr. Faraday yelled, "That's a salary cut for you, you nitwit!" Just stood there, watching this unfold in front of you? Yeah. I have to say, it was really enjoyable too. But that's where I saw Detective Gumshoe earlier. I noticed here clear of him. Oh wait. I thought it was because I had something stuck in my face. But you do. No. What I've got stuck on my face? Let's start with eyes, nose, mouth. Oh! And those ridiculous eyebrows. Huh? Oh man, messing with your head is just too much fun. As you don't mind, I'd like to return to your testimony now. Sure, why not? A brand new detective suddenly getting his salary cut, that's reason enough for a grudge. To cut a new detective's salary right off the bat like that. I'm not really familiar with the way you guys relate. But is that a common practice? Speaking of cutting my salary, didn't you threaten to do that to me earlier too? I suppose I did. So, it's only natural to cut a worthless detective's salary down to their actual worth. My father can even fire anyone, new or old, with a snap of his finger. Do you think may be that reason enough for a detective to hate you people? Well, I guess they really shouldn't cut people's pay. Detective bad. Don't tell me Miss von Karma cut your salary earlier. Well, how's that for a perfect explanation? Let's explain perfect. You call your explanation perfect. Is it not to your liking? Unfortunately for you, it's just not up to my standards. Oh, is this something you want me to clarify in that case? What should I do? Should I raise an objection? Well, she did not insert anything related to what she saw in more detail. All of that, what she has, is speculation based on a week-old point of data, and the fact that Gumshoe had to guard this place. There is a good question regarding if there's any way to verify it. Also, looks exactly the same. But maybe it would look a little more pristine considering this is Miles', well, first outing. I don't have a direct point of objection. However, yeah. While her idea is a plausible reason, it lacks. Right. If you could clear this thing up for me. Well, in theory, we have somewhat of a relatability regarding a grudge holding against Faraday, but considering especially that Mr. Rell had accused him, a motive for killing Mr. Rell would be of relevance, unless of course it was to just go into a bit of a hush-hush situation. Also, we don't know anything more related to Gumshoe's and Faraday's relation. Well, try to throw things at the wall once again. I understand Detective Gumshoe's potential motive for killing Mr. Faraday. However, what about his motive for killing Mr. Rell? His motive for killing Rell? I wouldn't know. If there was no clear motive for both the murders, well, I doubt this incident would have occurred, wouldn't you agree? Is there anyone else who may have had a grudge against either of the two men? Or should we look into that ourselves? Oh, in that case, I have absolutely no idea. But that's impossible. She must know something. Wait. Can you please not glare at me like that? It makes me laugh. I didn't even do anything, and you are already laughing away. Well, anyway, the way I see it, as long as he had a motive to kill one of the two, this crime would have played out the way it did, anyway. Oh? Would you care to explain your logic? And this time, please try to provide a perfect explanation. So, perfect this, perfect that. Stop being so uptight. Or is that a requisite trait for being a fond karma? Miles Edgeworth, I demand that you shut this rude woman up. I wish you'd both be quiet for just 1 second. Oh well, I guess I'll just have to explain it to you kids. Motive to kill the man. There's no one out there with a motive to kill both Mr. Faraday and Mr. Rell. All you really have to establish is that someone had a grudge against one of those two. Mr. Rell, who happened to be there, became a witness to Mr. Faraday's murder. Therefore, he was killed out of necessity and set up to look like they had killed each other. I wonder if that's really true. Is there no one out there with a grudge against both men? Should take another hard look at the evidence of this morning's case. Second KG8 incident, as people start calling it, involving an embassy staff member. The two men who both wound up as suspects of the case. There's someone else I'm overlooking who's somehow related to them. No rebuttal. There's no one out there with a motive to kill both Mr. Faraday and Mr. Rell. So, there's no one else who may have a grudge against both Mr. Faraday and Mr. Rell. I suppose no one is a bit of a stretch. But I'm pretty sure no one like that was here in this courthouse today. She's lying through her teeth. We just saw someone like that here earlier. Besides, you don't need to prove that the killer had a grudge against both men. All you have to establish is that someone had a grudge against one of the two men. Someone with a grudge against one of the men. In that case, aren't there plenty of other people who fit the bill? Sure, after all, who doesn't garner scorn for another simply by being alive? But the only one who held a grudge and acted upon it by killing was Detective Gumshoe. Furthermore, this moment I believe. So, I hope it didn't get too heavy, but I noticed that the margin between my voice and the background noise was a little slim. Furthermore, Mr. Rell, who happened to be there, became witness to Mr. Faraday's murder. So you're saying that he was basically silenced. Aren't you glad you managed to avoid the same fate, Your Honor? Why, if you had been the one to witness the blood-covered detective... What? Detective Gumshoe? You would kill even me? What? I could never do something as terrible as that, Your Honor. There's no need for even a second of deliberation. Your Honor, take a look around. We're not in a court right now. It would be greatly appreciated if you would stay here with us in reality. Please forgive me. I know not what I do. And you there, monsieur. Hurry up and continue with your testimony. If you hate to do so, I'll whip you into shape. That's nice. Sounds kind of like fun, actually. Great, she's a masochist. Anyway, Detective Gumshoe had to erase the witness, Mr. Rell. Therefore, he was killed out of necessity and to set up the look like they had killed each other. I didn't do it, pal. No hard feelings. But I don't think I can take the word of a criminal seriously. Aww. But I can't even begin to think how up ways to set up a crime scene. I suppose you do lack the necessary tactical mind required to do such a thing.
Oh. Why do I have to kick a man when he's down, pal?
You shouldn't put yourself down, detective. You're a big boy. I bet you fought it all up by yourself, right?
That's right. And it worked really hard on it too.
I think this proves one thing about a detective. He has the mental acuity of a worm. I have to admit her explanation makes sense. However, there's something she overlooked in her testimony. Should present that piece of evidence and see if I can make her see the truth. Well, we didn't get anything added to this testimony, and at present, the only thing we really have regarding potential people with a grudge come down to those two. Literally, her and Mr. Manico Ocean. Apparently, her sister was a victim of the previous case, and, well, Manic Ocean was found not guilty as a result of Mr. Faraday's work in prosecution. So, if it is truly her sister or something similar, someone similar at least, who was killed that day, she would have already would already have a rather good reason. In addition, if we assume foul play in all of this, both cases in a similar manner, then of course Manic Ocean is also one who could have had a grudge. Let's hope at least this time I'm right with this. It is water time. Also, Miss Yu, I believe there's someone you overlooked in making your statement. Or rather, is it because you'd rather not bring this person up? What do you mean? You're looking for someone with a reason to kill both Mr. Faraday and Mr. Rell. I can think of at least one person that fits the bill. He was a suspect in the original KG-8 incident, and a member of the Cordopian embassy staff, Mr. Manny Koshin. That's right. The very man who came to visit you earlier, out in the hallway. The man who killed a member of the Cordopian embassy staff, Mr. Rell, and the man who was the lead prosecutor of the KG-8 incident, Mr. Faraday. Are you telling me that Mr. Kochin has no reason at all to kill both these men? Well, I suppose he may have a reason or two.
No. You covered for me, pal. Maybe you're not such a bad guy after all.
Don't get ahead of yourself. You're still a suspect. Make no mistake about that. The perfect evidence, the perfect testimony, these are the only things I wish to hold.
I didn't do it.
You stay under my authority and go investigate Mr. Manny Kochin for me. And remember, don't investigate Kochin. You'd just be wasting your time. And why is that? Kochin was up in the viewing gallery watching the trial. Or so I was told. Every cop in this place has been keeping an eye on the guy since he arrived. And the only real suspect we have is still Detective Gumshoe. I suppose so.
Oh wait, come on, Detective Matt. You've gotta believe me, sir. I really was in that hallway the whole time, sir. I never took a single step out of this room, sir.
Okay. But are you saying that there was someone else who passed through the hallway?
I know. There's no one else, sir.
and why should I believe you didn't do it? That is one incredibly foolish detective, standing right in front of a crime scene all by himself. As good as a confession of guilt. I have to admit, it's a bit strange. Most criminals will fabricate some sort of lie to escape their crimes. And if that detective really wanted to prove that he is innocent, I don't think he would at the very least offer up a "I spaced out while on duty" or the like. Come on, Gumshoe. Time for your interrogation. Detective Bat. Miles Edgeworth, I will go on ahead and report this to Papa. And that, as I say, is that. Right, everyone? Ho ho ho. Well, I suppose we should both getting back to our real jobs now, huh? Before we do, Monsieur, there's something I'd like to speak with you about. What is it? Everything's neat and tidy on top of the table, with not a single servant in sight. Just set these two men up and make it look like they killed each other. So one thing if there's one thing I cannot forgive, it's the desecration of the dead. They turned off the TV. Television has been left on to preserve the crime scene, of course. It appears... Well, it appears not really. And it will stay on until the police are finished with their investigation. I think nothing of saving electricity. How bothersome. Pleasant breeze is blowing through this window. If only I could exchange it with the stifling atmosphere of this crime scene. Well, let's talk with our chucklebuck here. So, what do you want to talk about? What don't you want to ask me about? The current case of the murdered Kurdopian embassy staff member. I've heard that people have begun calling it the second KG-8 incident. Only among you law enforcement types. And what about it? I'd like for you to tell me everything you know about the original KG-8 incident. I'm afraid I can't help you. I don't know anything beyond what was reported in the papers. I believe you know much more, since you're directly tied to the KG-8 incident. I'd appreciate it if you'd stop with these false accusations. Baseless outbursts are useless, both inside and outside the courtroom, don't you know? I do. But I also know that I do have a leg to stand on here. I think you can stop making that ultra-serious face in front of me. If you could please stop laughing for just 1 second. I'm not going to make any headway like this. I'm just going to have to show her exactly how related to the KG-8 incident she is. Well, let us present this to her, Monsieur. I believe that I've proof of your connection to the KG-8 incidents. That file is your proof. Very well then. Why don't you tell me exactly how I'm related to the KG-8 incident? Through the victim. In connection to the KG-8 incident, is through the victim. The victim's name is CCU. You will note that she has the same last name as you. Can you really still tell me with a straight face that you are not related to this case? Sorry, but we're not related. Just kidding. You asked that question with such a serious look on your face. I couldn't help but... Monsieur, I ask that you please tell me the truth. Alright, I'll tell you everything I know. As you've guessed, the one who reported smuggling activities in the Amano group was my sister, CCU. That's the thought. She was killed right before she was to testify at the impending trial by Manny Kochin. But because he was tried once and was acquitted, he gets to live out the rest of his life, of his cushy life, completely carefree. All because of a lack of evidence. Now, I heard that the evidence to convict him did exist. What? I heard it from Mr. Faraday himself after Mr. Kochin's trial was over. Apparently, a man in black made off with the most important piece of evidence. Then, the evidence had been tampered with. Isn't it just like a criminal to do something like that? Smuggling ring being run out of the Amano group by one of its secretaries. Oh, wrong button. They bailed Mr. Kochin out. Turns out they were in league with each other all along. How big was that smuggling ring? Was it a large operation? I don't really know. Which is why I wanted to become the lead defense on this case that people are calling the second KG8 incident. But I haven't learned anything new at all. I was probably expecting too much, I know. You mean, you think this case has nothing to do with the smuggling ring? I don't know what to think. Why did Mr. Kochin want to meet you earlier? Actually, he came to watch the trial. Apparently, he only found out that I was the defense lawyer on the case after he arrived. He figured he should say hi. And one other thing. Looks like you couldn't resolve anything this time either. Too bad. What is that supposed to mean? Oh boy, stop it with the scary face already. I'm fine, really. I gave him a good slap across the face. Where she talks about slapping him as she laughs away is kind of creepy. That's just as Mr. Bad said. He's not related to the double murder. Ask around, and people in the gallery claimed that he was in the seat the entire time. Talk about cruel fate. Well, this is about all I know. Sorry. Guess I wasn't much help, huh? That's not true. I'm sorry I made you recall such a painful time in your life. Edgeworth, you really are too serious for your own good. You really need to learn to relax. We wouldn't want you to die of stress, wouldn't we? Thank you for your advice, but there's no need to worry. I work in my own way, and I will catch this criminal in my own way as well. You'll see. Look at you with your game face on, ready to go. I'm making no such face. Did you know, laughter's the best medicine, Edgeworth? Don't you get tired of making such a serious face all the time? I'm charged with making sure that all the criminals of this world are found guilty. There's no need for laughter. Like you're making it face again. Oh well. I've got to get going. I still have a few loose ends I need to tie up. Well, that's nice and ominous. KG8 incident and this murder investigation. It's my belief that these two cases are related to each other somehow. Plus that detective, Detective Gumshoe. It's obvious he's lying, even though the lie's hurting his chances. Clearly this case is far from over. But whether or not that detective is the murderer, I'll only be determined once I've completed my perfect investigation. Mr. von Karma, I swear to uphold your honorable name, or my name isn't Miles Edgeworth. And to be continued. Time to save, time to continue. Considering I had to take an extended break today, going a bit further now that I'm not just shy of, well, falling asleep, may be a very good idea. Though I somewhat doubt that I'll complete this today. However, just a moment, there's someone knocking on my door. Alright. It was more or less just a note for me, but really, I should go for a little bit of a better standard. So, let's continue, finally. September 10th, 4:45 p.m. District Court, 3rd floor lobby. Sir, what is to become of the trial into the Cordopian embassy staff member's murder? Indeed. Since both suspect and prosecutor are now dead, the case will be dismissed. In other words, the trial ends here prematurely. Looks like you'll have to wait just a bit longer for your big debut. I suppose it can't be helped. The evidence for this trial will be transferred to you in a little while. Sir, what do you think about the murder of the Cordopian embassy staff member? And the murder of Mr. Faraday and Mr. L? What an outrageous circus it has all become. That Faraday brought it all upon himself with his naivete. An outrageous circus. Right, sir. I grow weary of this topic, Edgeworth. I will have you assigned to a different case. Papa, you'll come and watch my courtroom debut next, won't you? I consider it. Sir, if I may, please allow me to continue with my investigation. Whatever for? I know that there is already a suspect in the murder of Mr. Faraday and Mr. L. However, there's not enough evidence to prove that it was he who committed the crime. I'd like to continue investigating in order to find the perfect proof of his guilt. The perfect proof? Don't make me laugh. A worthless person like you has no right to claim such a thing as perfection. Papa? Who do you think is the real culprit behind these murders? Miles and I, we're competing to see who can find the real killer first. Plus, being able to investigate a real crime scene is a really rare opportunity. It would give us some real-life experience, wouldn't you agree? If you want to investigate this case that much, then do as you wish. When you're allowing us to continue. In court, your top priority is to win, as a solid investigation, and a solid investigation is one of the keys to winning. We have to make sure you become recognized as a first-rate prosecutor, don't we? It wouldn't be very interesting otherwise. I'm returning home now. Edgeworth, Francesca, See to it that I am not disturbed, save for the results of your competition. Yes, sir. Of course, Papa. Francesca, thank you. What are you thanking me for? Your logic earlier spilled on that scruffy detective's lie. That means that the competition is still on. Yes, just as you wished. I can't let you get off so easily. Now then, let's see how well you fare on the investigation from here, Miles Edgeworth. I know I don't have enough information yet, so my first order of business will be to question anyone involved with this case. Interestingly enough, I have Francesca as a partner here. Yes, what is it? Today's trial. It feels like there's a whole backside to this case we are not seeing. And here we had thought that it was a case where the two men had killed each other. We're lacking information. And as the Von Karma, I can hardly call this a perfect investigation. Indeed, it is as you say. Yeah, can't believe we agree on something. Just what is so revolting about agreeing? Anyway, our first move should be to speak with everyone related to the case. Indeed. Even if we had not said it. I was planning to do so anyway. Yeah, what was that lash for? It's an incredibly detailed model, isn't it? I've heard that it costs as much to make as it costs to build the courthouse itself. What's the point of making such an expensive model? I felt the exact same way about hearing it. It's so hard to understand such foolishness. I agreed. Wow, this thing is so incredibly detailed. My inner modeling fanboy is impressed. I'm not exactly a fan of plastic models per se, but even I can sense the superb quality of this model. I simply cannot comprehend how that man can feel so much love for such a trifle. Oh, I see. You're a disciple of my father, so you'd do well to guard yourself against an interest in such unproductive thing. Yes, perhaps I should take up whipping people like the young lady over there. I can't stop the water, sir. Seems that the man who was here earlier broke it by drinking from it too much. Bunch of fools who pretend not to see the foolish actions of a foolish fool. Well then, why don't you lend the officer a hand? As if I could have anything to do with this. Besides, that water drinking fool's mouth is the thing that officer should be covering. Let's give this officer a description of the water guzzler later. She seems to have quite a grudge. Sounds to me like someone wanted a drink. This area is restricted to authorized personnel only. I'm not authorized personnel. Then what, may I ask, do you think I am? The younger sibling of a dysfunctional relationship? I'm not the younger one, he is. Now, get that straight in your head. I believe there's a more objectionable part to you should be upset about. Over, Francesca. Nothing to report, sir. I swear no one who will make this man take responsibility for his actions on the job. Looks like we have no choice but to report this to Papa. Then this guard can have fun. Why, in a waking nightmare after being awakened from his dream. Actually, let's not. I kind of feel sorry for him now. So, I can go into that hallway, not here, and we are able to talk with Gumshoe and you. Miles Edgeworth. Yes? What's the meaning of this bulletin board? Why are there so few trials posted? Would appear that the entire week is devoted to Mr. Rull's trial. Crime rate is the crime rate really that low in this country? Or maybe the police lacked a proper motivation to get out there and catch the criminals. I'm afraid I can't comment on that. However, I can say that I can say I have my doubts about the younger detectives. Sounds to me like they're in need of a stricter hand. And I start my discipline regimen with that pathetic, filthy-coated detective. I feel bad for the big guy, and yet I can find no suitable reason to stop her. With you. Oh, it's you, Edgeworth. And who are you? Wait. You were at the crime scene just now, weren't you? You should be disbarred from not knowing who I am. I am Francesca von Karma, and I'm about to become the successor to the family name. About to? I guess it means that for now, you're still just another kid. In which case, it's only natural that I didn't know who you are. Why are you being me? Yeah. Anyway, looks like they are planning to hold their evidence a bit longer. If there's one thing I can stand, it's waiting. I'm terribly sorry, but I have a few more questions to ask of you. Look at you, eyebrows scrunched with lines on your forehead. And that to ask of you. What exactly so funny? Sorry. I'm just bad at dealing with a super serious atmosphere. Apparently they failed to teach you proper behavior at a crime scene in law school. I feel much better now. So, what is it you want to talk about? I'd like to inquire as to where you were at the time of the murder. We were in the defendant's lobby 1, the whole time, up until we heard the gunshot. And by we, I mean Mr. Bat. If you don't believe me, feel free to ask him yourself. You were with the Detective Bat. Why? We had a little something of a discussion, that's all. So I take it that you are acquaintances with Detective Bat? Yeah, he was the detective in charge of the KG8 incident. Detective Bat is also related to that incident. That's right. He was the one who was supposed to protect my sister Cece. But you know how that turned out, don't you, Edgeworth? Miles Edgeworth? I've no idea what you two are talking about. I've heard of the KG8 incident from my papa. But how does that case relate to you, Miss Yu? The victim of this case, CCU, was my little sister. You're making that super serious face again. I'm fine, really. I just make it a point to rub some more salt in his wounded pride every time I see him. The way she talks about doing that as she lost is kind of creepy. Speaking of Mr. Bat, he and Mr. Faraday, I'd say they met up just about every single time the other Grasso made a move. It was practically given that the two would meet up at every one of these crime scenes. I see. He did mention that he is in charge of the Yatagarasu investigation earlier. Maybe I should ask her what she knows about the Yatagarasu in more detail. Yeah, maybe. Time of the murder. You claim that at the time of the murder, you were with Detective Bat. But don't you lawyers usually discuss the trial with your clients during their recess? We do, and that's what I was planning to do. But Mr. Faraday was being rather threatening, and he dragged Mr. L away. After that, Mr. Bat came into lobby number 1, so we just stayed there and talked. What did you talk with Mr. Bat about? Nothing interesting. I just insulted him some. Talk about how the trial was going, and then I insulted him some more. Bloody. When she's not laughing, her mouth seemingly spews nothing but insults. Anyway, Mr. Bat and I were in Defendant Lobby 1 when the murder occurred. So, I really can't tell you anything about the hallway or lobby number 2. I see. Mackerel. I'd like to ask you a few questions about your client, Mr. Mackerel. No, your client's first claimed to be the Yatagarasu. Is that correct? Yeah. Once I heard that it was the Yatagarasu that had made off with the evidence from the KG8, I began to ask Mr. Rell all sorts of questions, but to no avail. Turns out Mr. Rell was not the Yatagarasu. He already made that up. He made it up. Mr. Rell's crime was caught on tape by the security cameras, but there's no footage of him sneaking into the Cordopian embassy itself. Hold on for just a second. Ben, you mean to say that you know that he was not the real Yatagarasu, and that he was just another cold-blooded killer and you were ready to defend him? Yes, that's right. See. So, a defense lawyer is actually just someone whose job is to cover for criminals. That's why defense lawyers are so detestable. But they're no match for us, von Karmas. I don't believe it, you're serious. Why don't you save that face for something really worth being serious about? And Miss Edgeworth, do you remember what I said earlier? I have my own agenda. I'm still on the hunt for leads regarding the KG8 incident, alright? And for that, you have not a single qualm about defending a known killer. Don't put words into my mouth. I said no such thing. The only way I had to get close to Mr. Rell was to be his lawyer. I had no intention of covering for him, ever. So don't you dare suggest I was going to. I'm sorry, forgive my rashness. Monsieur, I was wondering if you could tell me about the Yatagarasu. Well, that's a big yawn. Let us hope it will not follow me further into this case. At least not again, considering I have already cut an hour out of my schedule for this, on account of me falling asleep. Well, the Yatagarasu, huh? I don't really know much about that character myself, but I do get a lot of consultation requests from companies to defend them. Requests from companies? The Yatagarasu isn't some petty thief out for money, you know. Alright then. Perhaps the Yatagarasu is in the business of stealing people's lives. You're not very funny or witty, are you, little Miss von Karma? Francesca, be careful about who you whip. Choose carefully, we may be sued by... Well, I choose carefully. Just like you wanted. That just now was hilarious, little miss. Of course it was. What's wrong with these two women? Why does my pain give them delight? And so in the end, what is the Yatagarasu? I have to say, I never even heard of his thief when I was in Germany. The Yatagarasu deals in information. Namely, they know dirt about backroom dealings, and the like of companies. The Yatagarasu is a vigilante who steals such info and then makes it public for all to see. Vigilante or not, this person sounds like just another criminal to me. I suppose you could put it that way too. But either way, I get a lot more clients now, thanks to that thief. Sounds like Monsieur is profiting nicely. I suppose I've gotten all I can out of Monsieur. Should move on and speak with Detective Gumshoe now. Yep, and is there something? Oh, it is the great courtroom. Can I get any info from here? It's a viewing gallery. This is where the riffraff sit when they come to watch. It's situated at the same height as the judge's bench. I wonder if that's to represent the intense scrutiny of each and every case from all sides. Miles Edgeworth, are you or are you not man enough to stand up to all of those eyes? What sort of... Of course I'm man enough. The defense attorney's bench. I'm probably standing on this side of the courtroom if that incident hadn't happened. What are you thinking about? Lately, the more wrinkly your face becomes, the less I'm able to read what you're thinking. Well, I never. I'll have you know I don't have a single wrinkle on upon my youthful brow. Any day now, I'll be taking my rightful place behind this bench. By that time, I should already be standing here. It'd be downright disgraceful if I beat you to it, wouldn't it? If that were to happen, Francesca, I'll eat my cravat. This must be the judge's desk. I can tell by the gavel sitting on top. I had a dream once that I was being squashed from above by this gavel. You're such a weakling, Miles Edgeworth. You have no idea how frightening it was. Good thing I did this early on. It appears that I may not have had the opportunity if I were to return later. Detective Gumshoe. Hi, it's you, pal. You're here. Youch! As am I. I don't think you need to whip him to let him know that. And once again, Gumshoe is the butt of all of the jokes. I didn't do it, pal. I swear on my honor as a detective, I really didn't. Your words are useless. I'll place my trust only in evidence, detective. Once the investigation is fully over, and should we find out that you are the killer, there will be no mercy to be had for you. Have a heart, pal. But you're not worried, right? After all, you have nothing to worry about if you really are innocent, that is. That's right. Hey, pal. Go and do your perfect investigation and get a real killer for me, will you? Huh. I would have done so, even if you not requested me to, detective. So, you and Mr. Faraday had a small meeting last week, didn't you? And what exactly did you do to make him so angry?
I just asked Detective Bat. Same thing myself, pal. Turns out he was mad at me because on my very first day as detective, I reported in at my usual post instead of the Criminal Affairs Department. By the time I got to Criminal Affairs, I was really late. It was when he gave me that huge speech. I remember doing the exact same thing in elementary school. On the first day of school every year, I always wind up going to my old classroom.
Pathetic for a detective to be comparable to a mere school child. Well, during recess, you claim to be standing guard in front of the door to lobby number 2 during the recess. However, when did you receive the order to do so, and from whom?
Earlier, around 3:20, and from Detective Bat, pal. Today's trial took a really crazy turn. So I was about to make sure nothing happened to Mr. Faraday.
And yet something did happen to him, correct? Looks like it was a total waste of manpower to assign you to guard duty.
Ow. Your words still sting worse than your whip, pal.
So it was Detective Bat who ordered him to stand guard, huh? It is plausible that he wasn't there the entirety of the recess, so what was seen by the judge could have happened prior to him getting the assignment. In addition, there's the question if both suspect and prosecutor, well, there's a big question if any of them were alive at the time when Gumshoe got that report. Not report, that order. So, next step. Now then, Detective Gumshoe, is there anything else you'd like to tell me?
Nope. Not a thing, pal.
In that case, allow us to take a look at what you are carrying on your personage.
Ah, wait. I can't do that.
There's nothing out there of any particular value here.
Well, my handcuffs and badge were confiscated by Detective Bat, so, you know.
And what is this open envelope I see sticking out of your coat pocket?
Hands off, pal.
Just show it to us already.
Yo.
Annual bonus check within. $5 total, except there's no check inside.
You've had your look. No, give it back, pal. It's my first bonus as a brand new detective. Just got it and cashed it today. I had literally no cash on me up until I did, you know. So, that envelope is really special to me. Now give it back.
You don't need rubbish like this. Don't worry, we'll throw it away for you later.
Oh, got you.
Well, apparently it is some sort of evidence. I'm sorry, but I need to take him in for questioning now. I think I've asked him just about everything I needed to. No, wait. Since he became a suspect, there's one piece of evidence I should reconfirm. Officer, I'll ask it that you wait 1 second. I still have one thing I'd like to reconfirm with Detective Gumshoe. Understood. But please, make it brief, sir. I want to hear it from the horse's mouth. Well, you must confirm whether or not his testimony about when the crime occurred is the truth.
It's a bookshelf. What's this? Judge's Trial Exchange Log. It appears to be a journal where various judges share their thoughts and ideas. The real daily life of the judges are laid bare here on those pages. There's nothing about the court in there. It's just page after page of unrelated drivel. Judging by the content, they're very enthusiastic about the courthouse's daily menu. It would appear that fried oysters are the favorite. I've no use for such foolishly foolish words from that foolishly foolish crowd. Someone please assure me that this is not the true state of this country's judiciary. Well. Well, let's show him his own testimony. You told me earlier that you've heard no sound other than the gunshot out in the hallway. Is that correct? No mistake about it, pal. Then you are also claiming that no one passed through the hallway either. Is that also correct? Yep. Not even a single ant passed through that hallway while I was on duty. Well, that's already a contradiction since there's an entire line of ants. You do realize that lie you're telling is only making life more difficult for yourself? Huh? Oh, but it's true. I didn't see anyone come through the hallway, and I didn't hear anything else, pal. I bet the killer found a way to kill the two guys. That's beyond what I can even imagine. So he intends to continue telling this ridiculous lie. Why would he do so, given the situation he's in? I believe a thorough investigation of the hallway in front of the defendant's lobby is in order. You... Phil! How could you not have noticed that coming? What that shit I exchanged money for earlier? Thanks, that's exactly what I needed. Kids can sometimes be so cruel. Looks like she dropped something. A Swiss roll dropped by a mysterious young girl, says Courthouse Special on it. Maybe we should arrest the girl. She might turn out to be a valuable lead. I believe some sort of punishment may need to be dealt the next time we meet. I believe I've asked all that I need to of this man now for Detective Bat and the judge. We have to confirm who is correct, Judge or that Gruffface, right? I suppose we should inspect the hallway in front of lobby number 2 next then. I suppose so. Shall we head over there, Francesca? September 10th, District Court hallway. So, do you see anything else? No, I don't think so. I see. Well, thanks for your cooperation. Oh, it's nothing. Just doing my duty as a defender of the law. That'd be all by now. That's be all for now. I'll ask again if you have any other questions. Anytime, Detective. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have a few loose ends I have to tie up. Oh. You're that new prosecutor Mr. von Karma recommended, right? My name is Miles Edgeworth, Your Honor. And I'm Manfred von Karma's daughter, Francesca von Karma.
I'm set to become the successor to my genius father any day now, Your Honor. I see. Can you... what was that? I see. Mr. New Prosecutor recommended by Von Karma, Miles Edgeworth, and Miss J... I'm gonna bit my tongue. Are you right, Your Honor? Please feel free to refer to me just as Miss Von Karma, Your Honor. As for him, just Edgeworth is fine. Apparently, somebody doesn't feel like I'm worthy of a proper title. Huh. Oh, very well then. I shall call you Miss Von Karma and Mr. Prosecutor Edgeworth. Your Honor, Mr. Edgeworth is fine, sir. Know about your earlier testimony? Yes, what about it, Mr. Edgeworth? I would like to ask you a few questions about what exactly you saw. Alright. After all, it is my duty to clarify my testimony as a defender of the law. I greatly appreciate your cooperation, Your Honor. Now, the first thing I will need to do is figure out that detective's exact movements. Hallway investigation started. It would appear that this vending machine sells snacks and various other foods. Just lovely. What will I think of next? Don't be a jerk in court like those beef jerks. Oh. One packet for $9. Defendant's fresh milk. 1/2 pint for $7. Stay neutral as the Swift roll. Do until the end with these. For $6. They're awfully overpriced. The lineup is simply awful. Period. Speaking of snacks, I wonder if that Swiss roll the girl dropped is from this machine. I was wondering about that myself. When you're in hot water, you may need a hot dog. Looks like this slogan was decided through a public contest. And the winner was Prosecutor Winston Payne. What a pathetic slogan. No presence at all. Now, if it was up to me, it would read, if you leave matters in Von Karma's hands, everyone in court will be found guilty dogs. Objection. Overruled. Don't be a jerk in court like these beef jerks. I see. Miles Edgeworth, wouldn't you agree that it's a very clever pun? Do you really think they put that much effort into the product name? Even a foolish fool could understand the foolish thinking of the fool who made it up. You're acting so foolishly that I got thoroughly mad, and now I'm utterly famished. You wanted a pack of these. All you had to do was ask like a normal person. Don't let the prosecution and the defendants make a ham sandwich out of you. That sounds like like it's directed at that ham of a judge. Well, it certainly isn't directed at me. I can outmaneuver him any day. When it's looking bad, blind your opposition with some OJ. Are they promoting violence? Don't worry, my whip will make sure that anybody following this advice won't be for long. Compared to the sting of a whip, the sting of orange juice may not be so bad. Defendant's fresh milk. What exactly is that supposed to mean? I bet it means that the milk is freshly milked by various defendants on trial right now. No, I think it may mean that this was milk right here from the various defendants. Miles Edgeworth, you can't possibly be serious. Of course not. Stay neutral. Stay neutral as the Swiss do until the end with fees. The end of what? Well, I assume it means the end of the trial. I suppose this means that one should eat these during a recess. Can't eat during a trial, so I suppose the only you can't eat during a trial, so I suppose the only time you can eat them is now. Huh. I wouldn't mind if you wanted to eat one now. We come in packs of 2 after all. We're in the middle of an investigation. Besides, I don't have $6 on me. If you want, we can pool our money and buy a pack together. If I have to split with you, then I don't want it. Oh, it accepts cards. And seems to have a coin slot. But I don't exactly have any data on that right now. Did you find something, officer? I think there's a $5 bill back there. Come on, just a little more. There's no one working this crime scene who isn't a total waste of living tissue. Fortunately, there doesn't seem to be a single person we can deem useful here. It doesn't look like there's anything contradictory left in this area. I suppose not. Perhaps I should check somewhere else. Have you found any suspicious fingerprints, officer? Nope. Just the fingerprints of those involved with the case, sir. I guess we know all of the players in this case then, huh? It would appear that way. But I have a nagging feeling that we're missing something. And I suspect that we're missing... what we are missing is sitting right here in this crime scene somewhere. Well, let's talk with the judge. Your Honor, I'd like to ask you a few questions, if you don't mind. Where were you at the time of the murder? Do you suspect me of something? Well, hats off to all of those streamers screaming around all day. Just doing those few different voices, well, completely parches my throat. Well, at the very least, I do have plenty of water here. Nothing of the sort, Your Honor. Very well. You may continue with your testimony. Your Honor, it's your testimony I'm after. Ow. I had no idea you were chasing after me or my testimony. I'm beginning to sense that I may want to avoid being in a trial run by this judge. Let's see. Let's see now then. How should I put this? When you get to be my age, you need to pay more frequent visits to the restroom. If you go, take a look through the window at the end of this hallway, you'll see a small window. That's a window to the men's restroom. In other words, you can clearly see this hallway from the men's restroom. When I was going to the restroom, that detective Gumshoe, is it? Well, you're standing in front of the vending machines buying something from it. However, and this I couldn't believe when I was about to exit the restroom,
There's not a soul in the hallway anymore. Your Honor, if you could please calm down and explain it to me rationally. Oh, I'm really sorry. Please let me regain my composure. It was really suspicious. That's where my finely honed judge's intuition said. Although, well, until the murders occurred, I just sort of brushed it off. Ho ho ho. Apparently, this judge doesn't understand the concept of staying calm. Probably all I'm going to find from His Honor. Miss Edgeworth, may I return to my other duties now? Yes, I'm sorry. I'm sorry to have held you up. Thank you for your cooperation, Your Honor. Anytime, Miss Edgeworth. Anytime. The judges in this court seem rather friendly. Yes, if not a little wishy-washy. However, I hear that that they are known to hand down very fair verdicts. Detective Bat, I have something I wish to inquire about. Hey, how about doing some actual work, you? I wish to inquire into Detective Gumshoe's movement during the recess. You're getting in the way of the investigation. I have an order from Mr. Karma himself. Plus, I still hold an investigative authority. So I hear you were the one who called for Detective Gumshoe to come down here. Faraday. That guy was just accused, you know. I just knew something was gonna happen. My detective's instincts told me. Water again for me. A lot of good it did you. You can even protect one lone prosecutor with it. Immediate stare. Yep. Francesca, I think you need to apologize. Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm terribly sorry, Detective Bat. Please continue. I used to phone on the first floor and called their precinct. I told them to send somebody over. And that detective, the one that showed up. And only upon his arrival did you set Detective Gumshoe to stand guard, Detective Bat. Yeah. I waited for him on the fourth floor. After he got here, we came up to Visifen and lobbies together. As we entered this hallway, we ran into you. She told us that Faraday was really mad, and that he dragged Rel off to lobby number 2 to have a word or something. That Faraday had said to not let anyone interrupt them. So, what choice did they have? All I could do was tell the big lug to stand guard outside. And around what time did all of this take place? Let's see, I think it was about 30 minutes before I heard the gunshot. After giving the big Lucas assignment, he never left the hallway, not once. Yeah, 30 minutes. Well, the trial's recess was placed for about an entire hour. So there was plenty of time between then. Too much yawning. After giving the big Lucas assignment, we never left the hallway, not once. Oh, and how can you make such a claim? One of the guards out in this floor's main lobby swore to me he didn't. If the detective never left the hallway, then where did he disappear off to? That's simple. He must have gone into lobby number 2
just as I suspected.
You and I, we were in lobby number 1, next door. The only one without an alibi is Gumshoe.
Does it seem that I'm still missing some key pieces of information? Detective Bat, you also heard a gunshot, did you not?
Yeah, I heard it when I was in Phantom lobby number 1. That's why I came running towards lobby number 2 together with you.
How much time elapsed between you hearing the gunshot and your arrival at the scene?
Less than a minute.
What were your movements upon hearing the gunshot?
I grabbed a big lock who was just walking around in the hall and raced into lobby number 2. And that's when we discovered the bodies, in that order.
That makes you the discoverer of the crime scene, right?
Yeah, I guess it does, little miss.
I'm about to become a prosecutor very soon. You will treat me with the dignity I deserve, or else.
You wave that thing around anymore? You wave that thing around anymore, and I'll have you arrested for obstruction, little miss.
You wouldn't dare.
Just joking.
Yeah. Detective Bat is really something. If he can make Francesca believe.
Are we about done?
Is there anything else I should ask him about? I'd like for you to tell me the exact time you heard the gunshot.
It was around the end of the recess, and the trial was about to start again, I think. It was supposed to make time for himself to transfer the evidence he was holding. But I got a sense he wasn't gonna show for the hands off. So I figured I should go get him. He'd be late. And just as I thought that, bang! Sound of a gunshot hit my eardrums.
Oh, you heard the gunshot right before the trial was about to restart, huh? That would mean that no one would have had enough time to rearrange the crime scene.
Are we done here? I don't have any time to waste.
Come on. All you're doing is standing in front of his door, doing nothing. I get a sense that he's somewhat investigating this crime scene, or rather, he's keeping us under surveillance. But to what end?
Detective Bat,
may I ask that you cooperate with us for just a bit longer?
I don't have anything else to say to the two of you. You guys were the ones who said you wanted to investigate in the first place.
Fine then, be obstinate. We'll just do as we please. Come on, Miles. You may no longer be willing to help us, however. May I ask for the forensic scientist's cooperation?
Do as you like.
This may be of interest since it's both the viewpoint where the judge claims that Gumshoe did, well, leave his post, as well as it's a point where he could have been hidden. So, let's see. What's this? It's a pink-colored piece of trash made of rubber. I feel like I've seen something like this before. Well, all I see is a picture of garbage. But you know, the fact that there is a litter loose among this courthouse is simply unforgivable.
Yeah,
It's not like I was the one who littered. Rubbish belongs in a rubbish bin. Yeah. She is correct, though that is still a little on the harsh side. Yeah. What's the matter? I pricked myself on one of his cactus needles. I didn't think the needles on this thing would be so sharp. Well, what did you expect? Can you imagine how bad it would be if you were hit on the head by one of these? Anyway, this cactus seems to be unrelated to our cause. Do you really think so? Because I believe this cactus sitting on this windowsill is completely related. Oh, well then, I look forward to your explanation on how exactly it's related. So, that window on the other side belongs to the men's restroom. I can see it. At your height? I can't see it yet. At your height, I'm not surprised. Yeah, I guess short people have feelings too. Well, potentially that one was deserved. The hands are hard at work carrying the food home. It's a marvel that I can pick up such comparatively large objects to their size. Well, if you want to carry the mighty foreign karma name and not be squished under it, you'd better work extra hard, just like these ants. The same goes for you, Francesca. There's a bit on further down. Dirt on this bench. Smells like some sort of sweet substance. Can't believe there's someone going around dirtying the courthouse. For shame. Calm down, Francesca. Now, take a good look. Doesn't this smudge look kind of like a handprint to you? I suppose it could be. Which means that perhaps we can lift prints of the person who sullied this bench. I think then we'll know the identity of our mystery slob. You there, the lab technician. Could you please find out who this handprint belongs to? Sir? Yes, sir. I got the results of the fingerprint analysis, sir. And do you know who it belongs to? Sir, the fingerprints belong to Detective Gumshoe. Ah, interesting. Good work, officer. Left in is much left on the hallway. Jot it down. There you have it. Yes, I suppose so. Now we know the identity of the person who dirtied the bench. I sense that you and I will be using this information in very different ways. And of course, what are these black speckles? I believe it's a pile of ants eating away. The detective. He claims that not a single ant slipped by him. And yet, here is a whole hill of them. Yike! What are you hitting me for? As a replacement for that pathetic detective. Perhaps I should add this deduction to the detective's growing tab of pay cuts. Anyway, I wonder what the ants are eating. From the look and the sweet smell of it, pieces of cake and chocolate from a Swiss roll. Miles Edgeworth, the courthouse is to be kept pristine at all times. Yo! It wasn't me who dropped that food on the ground. The courthouse must be kept clean. That is very essential data. Ants are pouring out from the hole in the bench as well. I wonder if the inside of his bench consists of nothing but ants. Did they continue that gross line of thought? I'm sorry. Well, it's unlikely to be an anthill here, though. Sorry for the coughing. I really need to find some voice exercises if I want to continue with those voices. Maybe I should take, well, 1 or 2 days of a little break prior to continuing once I'm done with today. Well, the intriguing part is, it is easy to assume that Gumshoe may have sat down here. If and depending on how tall he is, sitting down in front of that window would put him potentially out of sight from the man's bathroom. Do we have any indication? Well, the Swiss roll didn't have pink packaging. A beef jerky, however, may have had. The vending machine and the Swiss roll crumbs. Most likely Swiss roll bought directly from this vending machine. 3 bits of chocolate and cake. Oh, could they not have been from a Swiss roll? A Swiss roll? Why would a courthouse sell a thing like that? It may not seem like the right venue, however, it is being sold right over there. the vending machine, I see. Stay neutral as the Swiss until the end with this. For $6, talk about expensive. Taking the fact that it's on the expensive side aside, the fact that the cake crumbs and chocolate bits were found in the hallway suggests that they came from a Swiss roll that was purchased from this machine. I think I have a pretty clear picture of what happened here now. Naturally. After all, I'm here, aren't I? Detective Gumshoe must have sat on this bench as he ate a Swiss roll. And as he ate, he dropped it on the floor and sullied the bench. Most likely, Detective Gumshoe dropping it. How could he not have cleaned up after himself? How utterly despicable. Don't you dare whip me again. It wasn't I who made the mess in the first place. Anyway, if it was indeed Detective Gumshoe who bought the Swiss roll, that creates a rather interesting contradiction of facts. A contradiction where? I think another look at this special cutters machine is in order. Probably on account of the price point, or on the way it can be paid. Stay neutral to what end? Suppose this means and nothing. Get it during a trial. Wouldn't you? Yeah, that's all we already had. There will be something of note I haven't yet noted. Thank you for noticing that. Wait. Oh, of course. Deduction. The price point of a Swiss roll is $6. However, Gumshoe did say that until he got this annual bonus on the day, he had no money on him. So, On account of that, we can assume that if he did really have no money on him until he got that bonus card, well, then he wouldn't have enough on him to buy that Swiss roll. Ergo, yeah, someone managed to spring him some money, or somewhere he got another dollar. About Detective Gumshoe's finances. He said that until this morning, he didn't have a single penny on his personage. Just how poor is this guy? If his bonus really was only $5, then he should not have been able to purchase this pack of Swiss rolls. However, facts being as they are, we found cake crumbs on the floor. Meaning Scruffy must have bought a pack somehow. Indeed. A detective could not have been able to purchase a pack, yet he did. Question is, how? Swiss roll has been updated. Well, simple logic, really. But apparently I do not have that on me right now. Well, another way to go at it. A pink piece of trash needs to have gotten there somehow. If it is, well, ripped from something, the rather sharp windowsill cactus may very much be the reason it got ripped from something. It would still mean that someone has been climbing about on the windowsill, but those two could at least potentially work in conjunction with each other. This pink rubbery substance. I saw this in a different form earlier. I believe this is a piece of a pop balloon. Suppose that's possible. The balloon probably got a little too close to our friend on the windowsill cactus. That would be the logical conclusion, yes? It would also make a popping sound if it was a balloon, though that shouldn't have been loud enough to, well, be considered a gunshot. Unless, of course, that balloon was filled with some very ridiculously dangerous substances. Supposedly, I did attain everything. I believe I have a very firm grasp on what happened here. Well, I do too. Alright, Francesca. Would you care to share what conclusion you've come to? Why should I do that? It's in the middle of a competition, you know? We should... Oh, sorry about that. We should be checking to see if our conclusions are wrong first, so you go ahead. It's almost cute that she's doing this far. It's almost cute that she's going this far to ensure that she wins. Almost. Well, but first we need to pay His Honor a visit to correct his testimony. September 10th, 5:15 p.m. District Court, courtroom number 3. Your Honor, if I may, I'd like to test your witness testimony to see how it stands up. Do you doubt me? Am I your new suspect? In a sense, I suppose you could say that. Even you, a judge. and nothing but a common witness for von Karma. Silence in the courtroom. Silence, I say. Mr. Newton, genius prosecutor successor from von Karma, you bit your tongue again, didn't you? As a defender of the law, I could never give false testimony. You can even place me under oath if you want. Very well then. Your testimony, if you please. I saw at recess. During the recess, I went to the restroom. There is a window on the hallway side. In other words, I could see into the hallway. As I entered, I saw that detective buying something from the vending machines. But when I was about to exit the restrooms, he had completely disappeared. A detective that goes missing while on duty, that sounds mighty suspicious to me. Your Honor, can you please try to remain calm? Oh. I'm so used to simply listening to testimonies that I got caught up in this excitement. I'm sorry, Your Honor, but I'm afraid I'm going to have to spoil your fun for now. During the recess, I went to the restroom. Let's make him embarrassed. Your Honor, why exactly did you pay a visit to the restroom, if I may ask? Oh, well, isn't it obvious? What else do you go to the restroom for? Or maybe I knew it. You suspect me of some sort of tomfoolery, do you? Please stay calm, Your Honor. This is going to be much harder than I anticipated. I'm sorry. You're right. I need to think things through with a level head. I'm just nervous because so much has happened today with this trial. Let's see. I announced a recess and a time for us to reconvene. But having done all that, I still wasn't able to go to the restroom right away. And why couldn't you? Mr. Faraday had been accused, so I had paperwork to process regarding a new prosecutor. Once I'd finished that, I was finally able to make a mad dash to the restroom. At least he stayed consistent on the going to the restroom part of the testimony. There's a window on the hallway side. In other words, you could see into the hallway. Your Honor, did you really go to the men's restroom? What? What's the meaning of that statement? I simply meant that perhaps you went to a restroom on a different floor. I took it for such a long time. It was all I could do to dash to the closest one, or to the closest one to the courtroom. I suppose that's only natural given his circumstances. I ran from the courtroom, through this floor's main lobby, and down the hallway. Once you enter, you can see there's a window just above the urinals. And it was through that window that you witnessed, Detective Gumshoe, Your Honor. Yes, exactly. Your Honor, there's no need to yell. I can hear you just fine. Oh, I guess I put a little too much into that last answer. Now then, let's continue with the testimony. As I entered, I saw that detective buying something from the vending machines. Are you sure that the person you witnessed was Detective Gumshoe, Your Honor? Yes, I'm absolutely sure. It's hard to miss someone of his stature, even from as far away as the restroom. Besides,
I can't think of anyone else with this kind of hairstyle and big beige coat. Well, I was simply wondering if you were mistaken in what you saw. What? Preposterous. My eyes are as sharp as can be, ready to see through the lies to the truth. Although recently, things seem to have been a bit fuzzier than they used to be. Clearly, these eyes are not the only thing that have gone fuzzy. But allow me to say, with all the honor and dignity of a judge, I am not mistaken in what I saw. But when I was about to exit the restroom, he had completely disappeared. He disappeared, but Your Honor, didn't you just say? I saw the detective buying something from the vending machines. Well, yes, I did. The restroom window looks over the courtyard and right into the hallway. But just as I was about to exit, I took another look, and there was no one in sight. That led me to the solution to this mystery. That detective must have gone into the crime scene, lobby number 2, at that point. So, he looked into the hallway from the restroom and over the courtyard, did he? A detective that goes missing while on duty, that sounds mighty suspicious to me. Hold it again. Your Honor, I ask that you please remain calm. No. I'm perfectly calm. You're being anything but perfectly calm. Just a moment, I need to get something. And that's all the time I have for my little minuscule break, rather. So, it appears that his honor could not have been mistaken in what he saw. I suppose so, given his line of sight. However, Francesca, why do you suppose our lines of sight are so different? If you're referring to my height, can't you hold that word still for just a second? Now, about his honor's testimony. I believe his line of sight to be an important factor. If it's that important, why don't you hurry up and tell him already? Well, but there's one more thing I need to do if I am correct with this honor's testimony. I'm going to need to retrace Detective Gumshoe's movement. Yeah, and so that's the complete part of it. Let's see. Since I can only, we assume at least, he has gotten a Swiss roll, and we have proof that he at least touched it. Touched that bench so, as he ate a Swiss roll. So I guess here we don't have anything to worry about this line, considering that is, well, rather sure. But if Gumshoe sat down on the bench while eating, that would mean that he most likely was not high enough to be seen from the other side. I suppose Detective Gumshoe's fingerprints are, well, the big clue here. What was that finger wag for me, Mr. Edgeworth? And don't you know it's rude to shout objection while someone is giving a testimony? If you truly are a man of the law, then you must always be vigilant.
For example, I never let an opportunity to shout objection pass me by. Miles Edgeworth, it's one thing to be passionate about your job, but this is real life. This is what some people may say is the pot calling the kettle black. Your Honor, I wonder if you may take a look at this for me. What is that filth? How dare someone dirty the hallway bench like that? Who's the culprit? That party is hereby found guilty of uncleanliness. If you must know, the uncouth bench sullier has already been placed under arrest, thanks to your earlier testimony, Your Honor. Oh, well, that's good. But who was it? You're able to discover something from the smudge on the bench, namely Detective Gumshoe's fingerprints. Not happy with committing just murder, he had to go and dirty the courthouse too. Guilty. Your Honor, please calm down. While it's true that the detective is one who made a mess on the bench, we have not yet established that this action is related to the double murder. What do you mean? I believe that detective bought a pack of Swiss rolls from the vending machine, and then promptly sat down on the bench to eat one. The cake crumbs and pieces of chocolate on the floor under the bench, and Detective Gumshoe's fingerprints prove my conclusion to be true. Oh, but I still don't understand. Is this whole thing related to how I couldn't see him as I was leaving the restroom? It is indeed. A window in the hallway was built rather high up into the wall, at around the grown adult's chest height. As evidence, I submit Francesca herself was unable to see out that window. Yo, I knew I shouldn't have used her height as evidence. Basically, this means it is the area directly under the hallway window is a blind spot when the hallway is being viewed from the men's restroom. Then, it seems that you have made the connection. Someone were to sit on the bench under the window. Yes, even someone as large as Detective Gumshoe would effectively disappear from sight. What? You finally see, Your Honor. Your testimony has just proven that Detective Gumshoe was in the hallway the entire time. Objection. Sorry. I didn't mean to say it with that much enthusiasm. All I wanted to do was try saying it once. Here, let me try that again. Hold it! Something of value that you like to add? Yes, actually there is. I remember something else just now. Mr. Edgeworth, please allow me to testify to the court one more time. Even if we overruled him, he'd just keep on talking, wouldn't he? That might not be a bad thing. The more info, the better in a perfect investigation, right? What I saw, part 2. I suppose it's possible you can see a seated person from the restroom window. However, that doesn't mean that a detective was sitting there when I looked. Anyway, I forgot to testify earlier about probably the most important detail. As I was leaving the restroom, I heard a loud bang of a gunshot. How's that? That is the testimony of one who judges the crimes of others. Your Honor, could you try to state the important facts first next time? I agree. Before you go around judging others, you should learn to judge your own words. I'm sorry, but honestly, I thought that sound was just a noise popper until just now. Now that he mentions it. Right before we restarted the trial, he did talk about that.
By the way, was there someone celebrating a birthday during the recess? I could have sworn I've heard a popper going off. Come to think of it, we have a day with my grandson. The most critical point in his argument is when did the judge look into the hallway? And whether that lines up with when the gun was actually fired. Your Honor, if I may, I'd like to clarify a few details in your testimony. Well, time to press on to the judge. Suppose that's possible. I can't see a seated person from the restroom window. In that case, do you concede that you were overconfident in your last testimony? No, hold on there. I just said that it's possible you can't see a seated person from the restroom this time. But you know something? I don't think you know when the prints you referenced were left on that bench, do you? Sorry. You? While you have proven that it's possible the detective was sitting, I still have a problem with just when those fingerprints were left. He's right. I've yet to prove when the fingerprints were left on that bench. While he feigns ignorance, His Honor has seen a lot of life. This judge, I mustn't underestimate him. However, that doesn't mean the detective was sitting there when I looked. As we established, you went to the restroom during the recess. However, at what point in recess did you look into that hallway? After I called for recess, I handled change in prosecutor paperwork. Maybe about 20 minutes until we reconvened. Yes, that sounds about right. Just as I expected. What were you expecting? And I demand to know what all-knowing smile is for. Your Honor, that statement you made just now is very important. I'd like for you to enter it in your testimony. Alright, if you insist. Let's see. I looked into the hallway about 20 minutes before we reconvened. 20 minutes before we reconvened. Very well. What did you do after that? Let's see. I had to make some preparations, so I rushed straight back to the courtroom. I also had to track down a few pieces of paperwork for the various bailiffs. So you rushed back to the courtroom, despite having just heard a gunshot. Well, at the time, I thought it was just the sound of a noise popper. I really couldn't think of any other explanation than someone having a birthday party. But now that this has happened, I see. Thinking back, the judge did mention something as we reconvened. Anyway, I forgot to testify earlier about probably the most important detail. If it is something that forgettable, I don't need to hear it. But all I did was get to mention it. That sort of excuse may work on other people, but not on a von Karma. Oh. But it's such an important piece of testimony, please give me a chance to present it. I suppose I have no choice in the matter. As I was leaving the restroom, I heard the loud bang of a gunshot. Your Honor, about what you just said. I know, it was a gunshot and like this and this and quick Your Honor, please remain calm when you are trying to explain yourself to me. Yes, sir. Sorry about that. Now then, I must gather myself. Yes. That voice is better. When I heard a gunshot. There's no one in the hall. I should know. I looked. There's no one there. This judge's emotion circuits appear to be stuck on overreact. I believe that we finally found a flaw in His Honor's statement. testimony.
Yes, sadly, Vance completely oblivious to it. And I guess I can't really expect him to be aware of it. Well, what are we waiting for? Hurry up and fill him in. At least that thing finally came in handy. Indeed. Now let's see what happens when I present it to His Honor. Yeah, and the most important part here is the time frame. Then I guess it's not a bang itself. Well, there's an interesting question. If the popping of a balloon is related to just a bang, or if, like usual, it's about the time frame. Yes, would be the balloon piece. It's either related to the first or the second one, so... Well, let's try it. It's not in this point. Contradiction another. I don't feel a contradiction in the air. Mr. Edgeworth, I advise you to be a little more cautious in what you say. It would appear that I was mistaken. The annoyance is, I'm relatively sure. I look into the hallway in about 20 minutes. Unless it is one of those cases where it is right the situation after that. Because Detective Bat heard a gunshot about right before, and well, he heard it back then. Your Honor, I cannot allow you to make an objection. What? Your Honor, I'm really sorry, but I cannot allow you to not allow me to make an objection. I've been overruled? Your Honor, there are simply too many holes in your testimony for my taste. What do you mean by that? You claim you've heard a gunshot during the recess, but that is simply not possible. Mr. New Prosecutor, recommended by Manfred von Ack. Instead of biting on it, I see you have no mercy for the elderly either, Francesca. Don't talk back to me unless you want to be whipped in the back. Your height. You need a stepladder of 4 to accomplish that. Mr. Edgeworth, my ears are not that far gone yet. I'll have you know, I can still hear just fine. I heard the sound of a gunshot loud and clear with my own 2 ears. Your Honor, I have here an interesting bit of testimony. It's from Detective Bat. And according to him, the gunshot, he heard the gunshot right before this trial was about to start again. What did you just say? Your Honor, you just said that you heard a gunshot about 20 minutes before we were to reconvene. How do you explain this glaring contradiction? That can't be! Unfortunately, that is the truth. But I heard it clear as day. Bang! The loud sound of a gunshot. Son of a gunshot. We keep returning to this point of contention. And that piece of evidence, I always did wonder why I found it where I did. However, now I understand what that gunshot the judge heard really was. Unfortunately, Your Honor, this is what really produced the gunshot you heard. Now it's this. I found this object in the hallway earlier. What's that pink substance? May not look like it, but this is actually a piece of a balloon. I see.
And I suppose you would like me to accept that pink balloon into the court records. Your Honor, I present this piece of evidence in order to overrule your testimony. What? Your Honor, your argument goes as follows. You saw no one in the hallway when you heard the gunshot. Now that now there is no guarantee that the detective was sitting on the bench at the time. Therefore, you believe he must have been at the crime scene, defendant lobby number 2. Am I correct? Yes, that's exactly right. Head shake again. Let me ask you something. Do you think that the gunshot you heard was produced by a real gun? An interesting point, is it not? I think I've said enough. That even you can figure out the rest on your own. Your Honor, you were fooled by the popping of this balloon into thinking it was a gunshot. What manner of trickery is this? That was a good effort to put forth, Miles Edgeworth. But if it was me, I'd have wrapped this thing up before the judge even testified. Care to elaborate on how one ends something before it even begins? Well, to be honest, I didn't think that the sound was a bit off from a real gunshot sound. But who could have guessed that that someone would pop a balloon in a place like this? That's true. One doesn't usually think balloons in conjunction with courthouse. I want to trade these coins with you. That's it. That balloon the girl was holding, it explains everything. Your Honor, if it makes you feel any better, you didn't lie once in your testimony. However, I can't really vouch for its accuracy. You knew that giving testimony could be such a difficult thing to do. What have I done? I owe Detective Gumshoe a very, very big apology. I'll see to it that he's released. Wait. There are still a few things I have yet to resolve about what happened in the vet hallway. Your Honor, I request your permission to further question Detective Gumshoe. But why? I thought we just cleared his name. Whether we did just that or not, I still cannot say. The only thing I can do for now is continue my quest for the perfect explanation. And to that end, I must resolve the remaining issue pertaining to the events that occurred in that hallway. Very well, bailiff. Please bring Detective Gumshoe into the courtroom. I must fulfill my mission and find the perfect explanation to this case. September 10th, District Court Room number 3. What's going on now? It's the time for my trial already. I've already told you against the Island Times, pal. I didn't do it. I'll be the judge of that, Detective Gumshoe. No, you won't. I'll be the judge of that. No. I'm the judge around here, and I'll be the judge of that. Why can't you guys be a little less judgmental? Yes, well, speaking of hasty judgment, Detective Gumshoe, I'm afraid I must apologize for an error in judgment on my part. No, I didn't believe you should apologize just yet. We have yet to prove he's completely innocent of his crime. I guess so. What are you guys talking about? In any case, I'd like you to testify as to your actions while you were on guard duty. And please, remember, you are not on trial. This is all just part of the investigation. As such, you may still be found to be innocent. However, if you should give false testimony, yow, my whip will object loud and clear.
You are found to be lying. You will be held indefinitely, understood? Gotcha, pal. Thinking back on the state of the crime scene and the judge's testimony, it's obvious that Detective Gumshoe is lying. And if I can break his lie, then we may... If I can't break his lie, we may never get to break this case. Why do I have an itchy ear? Well, okay. I came down to the court house on Detective Bat's orders. As soon as I got here, he ordered me to stand guard in front of lobby number 2. From that time on, until I heard a gunshot, I was in the hallway the whole time. On my honor as a detective, I swear it wasn't me, pal. He's still singing the same tired tune. In this case, I'll just have to change the melody. I know he's lying, and it's time I pulled the information I need from him. Came down here into the court house on Detective Bat's orders. Well, let's start with that. Once again, pressing through it in order to find some additional information. So, was it really Detective Bat who called you down here? You bet it was, pal. I was left in charge of the precinct while everyone else was out, and this call comes in. I want you down here in 1 minute flat, he said. Well, I thought this was my big chance. My first case, so I made a mad dash down here. Although, I couldn't exactly get here in a minute flat. How long did it take you? About 10 minutes, I guess. What about and what was Detective Bat doing when you finally made it? He was waiting for me down on the first floor, in the entrance way, pal. As soon as I got here, he ordered me to stand guard in front of lobby number 2. And by he, you mean Detective Bat, of course. And this being my first time in the courthouse, he also walked me. He also walked with me up to the 3rd floor hallway in front of the defendant lobbies. Did you meet anyone along the way? Well, just as we entered the hallway, we ran into Miss Yu. When you heard from Miss Yu that Mr. Faraday was not to be interrupted, that's when Detective Bat told me to stand guard in the hallway, pal. So, Detective Gumshoe's testimony is matching up with Detective Bat's. From that time on, until I heard a gunshot, I was in the hallway the whole time. You claim to have been in the hallway the whole time. However, is it not a fact that you did something while you were in that hallway? Of course I did something. I got the door to lobby number 2, pal. What else? Very well then. And what exactly does guarding that door entail? Well, to put it simply, oh, I know. It was not just to stand in front of the door without moving an inch. Oh. Detective Gumshoe, you mean to tell me that you didn't take a single step away from the door to lobby number 2? Is that really what you wish to testify to the effect of? You got it, pal. I didn't take a single step away from that door, just like I was ordered to do. Why is everyone quiet all of a sudden? Because we are in shock. I didn't know of your utter stupidity. Scruffy. If you're going to lie, at least tell us more believable one. Gouge? But I'm not lying. I should hurry and bring this I should hurry and bring this insipid insipid testimony to a close. Till I had a gunshot, I didn't take a single step away from lobby number 2. I'm only going to ask you one more time, Detective Gumshoe. Are you sure you stood in front of the lobby, in front of the door to lobby number 2 the entire time? Yep. After I was told by Detective Bart, I stood guard in front of that door without a single break. So believe me when I say that I was in the hallway the whole time already, pal. And once again, it is the same thing. Why did everyone go quiet all of a sudden? Again. Apparently someone has a bit of trouble reading between the lines. What's that supposed to mean? Don't be quiet. Be quiet. Ouch. Bring this too close. On my honor as a detective, I swear it wasn't me, pal. Would you also be willing to swear that there was no one else in that hall besides you? What are you talking about? I just swore to you that I was doing my job, pal. Oh, then what are you? Then what are you acting so nervous for? What? I don't know this at all, pal. Anyway, not a single person other than myself was in the hall the whole time. I should just let it go. Pursuing this train of thought at this time would just be a waste of time. Just such a foolish contradiction, and such a foolish testimony is just plain old foolish. Indeed. However, in the pursuit of the perfect investigation, I'm afraid we have to deal with it by squashing it under the weight of the evidence. Well, I guess we already know that it can't be that he stood there the entire time. After all, we have multiple testimonies against that, including his fingerprints. I have an objection. What is it, pal? Detective Gumshoe. I wonder if you might recognize this from somewhere. Hey, it's one of those things. The Dakota Special Swiss roll, right, pal? Precisely. In that case, I suppose that you also recall the solid hallway bench. Hey, you know what? I think it was probably me that did that. Detective Gumshoe. You know, you can't go around dirtying the courthouse like this. You inconsiderate, sloveling pig. Yeah, I promise to clean it up later, I swear. Now then, shall we get down to business? About the fact that you didn't move even a single step from the front of that door. If that really were the case, then how were you able to buy a pack of Swiss rolls? Furthermore, you didn't move a single step from in front of that door. How did you manage to get the bench dirty with your grubby hands? Yeah, it appears that Francesca's whip can do more damage than my words can alone do. Alright, I'll confess, pal. I was hungry, so I bought a pack for myself, okay? Thought I'd get chewed out again if anyone found out about me eating on the job. So I didn't want to say anything. Well, fortunately for you, I saw you through the whole I saw you do the whole dastardly deed. I clearly saw you buying a pack of Swiss rolls from the vending machine. Okay, I'm sorry for lying. But that's all I'm sorry for. You got that? Because I'm not holding anything else back. That last statement may sound like it makes sense. However, there's something I don't quite believe about it. Are you sure you're not withholding further information from us? Oh, of course not. I've got nothing else to hide, pal.
only that were true, Detective Gumshoe. But it is true, pal. I swear there's nothing else. Detective Gumshoe, I'm sure you are aware of the price of a pack of Swiss rolls, correct? Oh, remind me again, pal. That vending machine out in the hallway is selling selling packs of 2 Swiss rolls for $6 a pack. Oh. And yet, according to you, you didn't have any cash on you until you cashed your $5 annual bonus check. Isn't that right? Oh. Let me ask then, how did you manage to purchase a pack all by yourself? Can you provide me with a proper explanation to that? Yeah, I told you. I bought it by myself, pal. There wasn't anyone else in that hallway with me. So, there's no one who could have helped me buy it. Wait, don't tell me. You've got some kind of proof that there was someone else in the hallway, don't you? Correct. If you could. I mean, what are the chances that... Wait, you do? Of course I do. What? How? What proof do I have that there must have been someone else there in the hallway? I guess it's once again that balloon piece. What the heck is that? I knew you didn't have anything. Okay, it's not that. Despite it... Well, it doesn't prove the time frame when that got there, sadly. But it's all the same. Always lying to people. You should stop, you know. I refuse to be lectured by the likes of you, detective. That's how long are you going to plan on strung along by this moronic detective? I have no intention of falling for his lie, because there was definitely a second person. Because if he was truly alone all along, then that piece of evidence shouldn't exist. What piece of evidence? Let me guess, it's the second Swiss roll. Which would be the other part? Hey, you showed that to me not 2 seconds ago, pal. I think you're under the mistaken impression that I bought this pack of rolls. Wait, you didn't buy it? Then that means you must have stolen it, you thief. What? I would never do such a thing. All you liars are the same. You start out as thieves. You're under arrest, pal. I believe you meant to assess that all thieves start out as liars. In that case, what does it have to say about you, detective? This particular Swiss roll was dropped by a certain someone. Oh? There were there were 2 rolls in this package. You had one of them. But you then gave the other to a certain other person, didn't you? No worry, pal. You got it all wrong. I had both of them. It would appear that we've caught you at last. Hey, don't you dare do anything bad to that girl. It would appear that they do know each other after all. So, why do you continue to come up to me and kick me? Have I wronged you somehow? I have a name, and it's Kay. Kay what? Kay Faraday. Faraday? Are you perhaps Mr. Faraday's daughter? I'm not you, I'm Kay. Kay. You know, good little girls don't kick other people. Especially not hard enough to leave big nasty bruises like the way you do. Well then, you shouldn't have put Gummy under arrest, mister. Gummy? I guess it's the show he's talking about Detective Gumshoe. What a cute nickname you've given him. Gummy didn't do anything wrong. Okay. It appears that I will need to speak with her in a bit more detail. Rah! Do I? Hey, I can move freely again. So, however, because sadly I do have something to do still as of now,
I can't exactly continue here. While I originally intended to stream until this point about now, I hope to get a little further on. Well, but that 1 hour I lost today is, well, not quite a conundrum, but certainly an annoyance regarding this. However, at the very least, this time I can leave you with a bit of an upbeat music. I believe most likely I won't stream tomorrow, though, well, I guess I should finally get a hand on the streaming schedule and on getting the already recorded things onto YouTube. And well, link my YouTube and my Twitter account via mutual links. Still, in any case, I guess I won't stream tomorrow, probably will stream the day after, but that remains to be seen. In any case, for now, I wish you a good day, and until next time. We'll see, maybe I will divert a little bit considering that day after tomorrow there's the full release of Power World. But that remains to be seen. For now, have a good one.